We're here to build a miniature aquaponics system. We've bought all our materials, so let's get going. This is the overall picture of what our system is going to look like in the end. And then we have a list of all of the parts and pieces. So we've got our lumber, our PVC piping, and a list of other materials. And so we've gone to the store today and we've picked those things up. And so we're going to go through and see what all we've got here. Some things that we couldn't get at the store were some of these bussing containers. So these are made out of polypropylene, so it's a food safe material. We ordered these online. Those are pretty cheap, about $3 a piece. We've got some tools here as well. So we're going to need a drill, we're going to need a nut driver and a Sharpie so we can mark our points. So this is a 1/2 inch PVC elbow, and so that's a 90 degree. It's got a slip on both ends of this, so we'll be able to push that 1/2 inch PVC pipe in there when we have it glued. This is going to be on the pressurized side of the system. We're going to have these as downspouts as well as some other segments of that particular system. We're going to need 4 of these in this system. This is a 1/2 inch T, so that's a 3-way shaped like a T. These are also 3-way splits, and we're going to need 2 of these in the system. This right here is an adapter, so it goes from 1/2 inch female slip right there to a 1/2 inch male threaded end. So these are also, we're going to need 1 of these, and that's going to connect with a nipple here that's got 1/2 inch male threads and a 1/2 inch male nipple here. So those will screw together like this, and we're going to put a little bit of Teflon tape in there, make sure that that gets a good seal. And then we also have some 1/2 inch ball valves here, so we can control the flow rate going into our system. You look inside, you can see when I close the valve it turns, so we can restrict the flow rate to be able to get the proper flood and drain fill rates for our grow beds so they can drain properly. The next part of the system, we're going to be using some Uniseal. These are for 1 inch diameter PVC pipe. We'll push the pipe through this hole right here, and that'll seal off here on the edges as it expands, and it'll fill up our hole. We have to use a 1 3/4 inch hole saw to be able to achieve that. So we'll cut a hole that'll actually fit here perfectly, so you can see what that'll look like. The diameters are the same, so when you cut that hole, this will fit in very tightly, and when we push the pipe through, it'll seal it up and make it watertight. Okay, so we'll need 3 of these. And then we're coming over here to the drain side. This is a 1 inch elbow, again slip and slip on there. We're going to be using 11 of these in this particular system. At the different points in the drain. This is a 1 inch T, again 3-way slip connector, and we'll be using 2 of these in this system. Another thing we have here, we have some hose clamps. So these are going to go on the end of this nipple here along with our hose. So this is going to be our hose. This is a 5/8 inch inside diameter, 3/4 inch outside diameter. So this is going to slide straight over our hose, or our nipple here. We'll put a hose clamp over that so we seal it and keep the water from leaking out. And then we have a pump here. So this is our fountain pump. This is a submersible pump that can go down inside of the water. And we're looking here on the side at this, and we're able to see at what height. So there's a head pressure component to this. So you can see that at about 5 feet of height, we can get 95 gallons per hour. At 3 feet of height, we can get 190 gallons per hour with this. We're going to be pumping about 3 feet. And overall, our goal is to get about 3 turnovers or 3 complete circulations of water through our system per hour. So this is going to be able to give us that opportunity. Also, we're looking here at our power consumption is 23 watts, so it's a low amount of electricity that we're going to be using for this. This will be running all the time. You can get a lot of different types of those pumps, but that's a pretty decent pump that'll last you a while. So we're going to build our structure out of this lumber here. This is untreated wood from the store, probably pine or fir or spruce or something like that. All right, so whenever you're choosing the wood that you want to use for your project, you want to look for imperfections in the wood. Things like knots can split and they can break the wood, or you want to make sure that you're not covered in sap, or you're not your board's not twisted or warped or bent or anything like that. We want to use good straight boards. Those are going to be better for your construction. It's going to make everything more square, and it's going to make for a better looking piece at the end. We're not using treated because we don't want any opportunity for any of those potential toxins that are in that treated lumber to be able to leach into the fish tank and kill your fish or your bacteria, your plants. So we're going to take this. We found some sealant here. So this right here is a 2-in-1 stain and sealant, and also we got it as a reduced price. You can see it used to be 42 bucks. So if you find one that was kind of a miscolor or something like that, you can buy it for a heck of a lot cheaper. Save yourself some money. It's going to be 2-in-1, so it's going to stain and it's going to seal our wood, and it's going to be non-toxic for us, so it'll make our structure last a lot longer. And we purchased these foam. These are cheap brushes that are disposable, and we'll be able to apply that stain with these. There's several of them because they are cheap, so you might need a few of them. Other things that we have here, we have some of our PVC pipe. If you look down on this, this is 1/2-inch diameter pipe here, and we've got 1-inch diameter here. This is it's a pretty thick pipe. It's called Schedule 40 pipe. This is going to be thicker and more rigid than something like a class pipe that you can see is a little bit thinner walled and a little bit less structurally integrity there. And so we'll cut that up and we'll do our plumbing with that. We're going to use this cutting tool right here to be able to cut our PVC. It's got kind of a ratcheting function, and so you can just click that down and it'll cut right through that PVC pipe really nice and easy. So that's a really useful tool. We are going to put a light on here, so you can see we've got some chain from the hardware store. Just need some thin diameter decorative chain to be able to hang that light with. And so you can see we've got a light for our plants over here. This is an LED light. It's really a shop light. We wanted to try to choose one that would give you a good energy savings. It would last a long time, and that it would have sort of a color spectrum that was somewhere in between the red and blue spectrum, so that we can get some red light as well as some blue light, which is what the plants really want to be able to grow. Another thing you might want to think about is making sure that you're going to match the light to the power supply. So this is a 120 volt light. You don't want to buy 220 if you don't have 220. Whenever we're going to be doing our construction, of course we want everything to be square, so we have a square here to do our edges and marking our cuts. We have a wood clamp here. We're going to have several of these we're going to work with so we can put everything together tightly. We also have some exterior wood screws. These are for doing some decking. These are 2.5-inch, and the reason why is because we're going to put these two 2x4s together. We don't want the screw to be sticking out through the other side and poking people, but those are kind of what those look like. So we've got 2 boxes of those, and so we don't run out. We're going to be growing our plants as well as having our biofilter out of this Pea Gravel right here. So this is from the hardware store also. We have a fairly small diameter. This is like 1/4-inch to 1/2-inch diameter Pea Gravel, and this is going to give us lots of space for our plant roots to take up water. We also will be able to drain really easily because of all that void space inside of there. Things to think about here is that you could have a lot of calcium carbonate or limestone in there, so that's going to mess with your pH a little bit. So if you can get quartz rock, that's going to be a little more inert. So we're going to be filling these up with that Pea Gravel. So we have to have enough Pea Gravel to be able to fill these. So each one of these little containers is going to hold about 2 bags, 2 half cubic foot bags of that Pea Gravel. So we calculated that out. That's going to fill us up to about 6 to 8 inches of depth there. And then so you want their water to be able to drain freely out of here. So you don't want to be crowding your PVC pipe with that gravel because it can clog you up. So what we did to put around there, we have this drain pipe, and you can see here It's a 4-inch diameter corrugated pipe. The corrugation makes it structurally strong. These little slits in here, these are going to allow water to flow through those. So that your flood and drain style media bed can flood and drain easily and quickly. So we're only going to use about 6 to 8 inch sections of this. So we'll be cutting off these pieces here and putting them inside the system. We're going to have here an aquarium. So this system is going to measure about 4 feet long and about 18 inches, 19 inches deep. And also this is, I believe, about 18 inches tall as well. So plenty of water volume for the fish that we'll have in here. So you'll have a big storage area. You don't have to make your fish be very dense in there like you might in a typical production aquaponics system. So we can have more fish in here. You can do decorative fish. You could do some native fish. Anything that can go on feed is sort of what we're looking for in these. So this will be a nice size aquarium. This is a 55-gallon one. They typically, at retail price could be about $150 or so. We were able to get this one for half price on a sale. So look for those things, or look on some sort of the classified ads or whatever. You might be able to find a garage sale, something like that. Find something for really cheap. So people are getting rid of fish tanks all the time. So take those opportunities, and then so we'll be able to produce a system that'll be able to grow food for you and also some entertainment with those small fish. So overall with this system, we spent under $250 for all of the materials here. We spent about $70 on the aquarium. And if you grow this for a year as a homeowner and you're trying to offset your food costs, if we're just growing lettuce, you'd probably be able to save about $600 a year. If you're doing all your herbs and everything for the year, you might be able to save about $1,000. So it's a really cool thing to do, and a lot of entertainment. It's really important always to look and double check where your saw blade is going to go to. We want it to be really hard up against this fence. Sometimes I might even go ahead and put a wood clamp on there just to make sure that it sticks